Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how I like to use my preset pack in a wide variety of different adventure, mountain type scenarios, tips and tricks, and really just give you a feel for what you can do with these presets and for how freaking versatile they are. That was something that was really important to me when I created these, is that you didn't feel like you were having to tweak the heck out of everything as you're going through, because there's nothing more frustrating than that. And I also wanted these presets to feel natural and timeless, because something I found in the past when getting presets is the edits can feel really crazy or intense with different stylistic choices, which is perfectly fine, but I really wanted something that felt like it was going to withstand the test of time and also do justice to the just incredible natural beauty of these places. The biggest thing with my presets that you'll notice is that I have 6 base presets, and they are Christine Madeux 1, Cloudy, Christine Madeux 2, Harsh Light, CM3, Harsh Light, Desaturated and Warm, CM4, Golden Hour, Backlit, CM5, Golden Hour, Direct Light, and CM6, Blue Hour. So each of these presets is named pretty much based off of what lighting scenarios that I tend to use them most in. With that being said, they are quite versatile, and you can definitely feel free to test what look you like best with different scenarios, because sometimes I do like using one of my Golden Hour presets on a midday lighting situation, or Blue Hour, or Cloudy, or whatever. So definitely feel free to play around with those. So that's like this first section here off on the left. The next section you'll see under presets is I have the folder Christine Madeux Contrast and Exposure. So this allows you to quickly go through and adjust the amount of contrast that you want in your image. And then the other thing is you can also quickly you can bump up the shadows if you want to. And then in the third section, we have our modifiers. These are easy to use if you quickly want to add some cool tones to the shadows, warmth to the midtones or highlights. If you want to have grain, low, medium, strong, turn it on or off. Also lens corrections, a radial filter, and then sharpening, and then also vibrancy boosting and reducing. So these are all things that you can just really quickly do at the side here to tweak and adjust your presets. I am definitely of the mindset that presets are rarely a one-click fix. You need to start with a great image, and also preferably a well-exposed image and shot in RAW. And that's the way that you can get the most out of these, and tweak. And then not only that, you have the presets, but you also have a series of masks, which you'll find under the masking section. I'm just going to add a linear gradient to show you, and then we're going to see them all in action. Let me see here. There we go. Added a mask. And you'll see here I have options so that you can darken up the skies. Depending on the degree that you want to darken, you can soften the skies, which I really like during kind of like cool, puffy cloud, harsh sun kind of days. You can soften and darken the skies. You can also add a soft glow, which is really nice at sunset. You can brighten your subject. If you have like a person, for example, you can also enhance your subject. So if you have buildings or other objects that you want to draw attention to, I have a filter that I really like to use for that, and I typically use it with the radial filter. You can also darken parts of your image and also boost the shadows in certain parts of your image. And so all of these help come together to create a great solid looking image. So we're going to see all those in action throughout these photos. So we'll just dive in right now. Actually, let me delete this filter first. Okay, awesome. And so this image right here is actually just from Appenzell, Switzerland, on a hike to the Megazalp. It's such a beautiful area. Absolutely love it. And yeah, as you can see, it's a bright sunny day. I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to take my Harsh Light preset. I'm going to add that, go over in here. And then right off the bat, something I like to do sometimes is get the image to a flatter point, in the sense that like the sky is already really blown out in this image. So I'm going to bring that down right away before I make any other adjustments. So I'm just going to take my darken skies, I think high I want to start out with. Maybe that's a little too intense. I'll do the darken skies low. Yeah, I like that. And then not only that, but I feel like the shadows in here are just a little bit darker than I'd like them. So I'm going to add another linear gradient down here. And then I'm going to apply shadow booster low. So you can see just a little more detail down in there in the valley. Awesome. And then from there, I already really like the colors. This is the before, this is the after. I feel like it's looking good. I might add a little bit more magenta for the white balance. And I'm curious if I warm it up. I do tend to shoot on the slightly warmer side, which you'll notice. but that's just personal preference. I feel like it looks pretty good right there. Super basic. I'm gonna see here if I wanna add any more contrast. Typically the contrast is already brought quite a bit down on my presets, and then I just prefer to add it in if needed. I might go to -20. And then also in here, if I wanna warm anything up, I might slightly warm up the highlights. And then if you like to add a little bit of grain, that can be a super nice touch. And so I'm just going to add, let's see here, I'll use the medium and see how that feels. Yeah, perfect. I like that. So that's the before and that's the after. Moving on to the next one. This is a little bit different. These presets weren't typically really designed for like night lighting scenarios, but they do work for that. I would say outside of like Astro, which is kind of its own thing. I'm just gonna pop on the Blue Hour preset right now. Let's see actually here. Yeah, I'm gonna do the Blue Hour preset. This one is super basic actually. I'm just gonna crop it in. I think I wanna do a 16:9 crop on that. Keep it wide. This was from a super cool like bivouac that my husband and I did a few summers back out in Switzerland. And then I wanna draw in some tension to us. I'm going to add a radial gradient, and then here I am going to use the enhance subject option. And see here, that brings us out just a little bit more. Super simple, but dig it. There we go. And let me see here. I'm going to go over to the next image here. This is from a foggy day out in autumn over in Austria with the larches blooming, or not blooming, the larches were changing, super stunning. And I think for this image, while it is cloudy, that one tends to be a little bit more desaturated. I think I might go with my Golden Hour Direct Light preset just because I found I did design the Golden Hour presets. They tend to add a little bit more color, and I really want to make sure that the oranges are brought out in this image. I'm going to bring down the exposure just a little bit here. And then what I also want to do, well, before I add any masks, actually, I want to change the contrast as well for this image. I think it needs an extra pop. So I'm going to go, I think right in here. And then I'm going to add a linear gradient. I want to darken the bottom part of this image just to draw in some attention. So I'm going to darken that. And then I also want to draw attention to the tree, so I'm adding a radial gradient again, and I'm going to change that so that it is on enhance subject. See, makes the tree pop just a little bit more there. And I'm not for sure if I want to, I'm going to try and see what it would look like with the sky darkened a little bit here. So once again, darken the skies. I think I like that. Let me see. I feel like editing, it's always a little bit of just testing and seeing what you like or not. I think I'll keep that. Yeah. And there we have it, this beautiful arch tree. And this is the before and this is the after. Look how quickly and easily we were able to bring out the colors of this. Awesome. The next image here, this is from super beautiful inversion, kind of pre-dawn light while out in Switzerland. First things first, I'm gonna straighten that. And then I'm gonna select my Blue Hour preset. And then from there, I'm gonna bring up the exposure a bit. I always find Blue Hour a little bit tricky to feel like you have a balanced image, but I wanna bring down the light, or the highlights here in the sky a bit, because I find that it's pretty bright right now. So I'm just going to, I think here I want to do darken skies low. Perfect. And then that is our before and that is our after. It is a very blue image. I'm curious if I want to warm it up a little bit, add a tiny bit of warmth to the midtones. And then if I want to change the white balance at all. Let's see, probably right in there is what I would call good. I could also, actually, I think I will, add a radial gradient here. And once again, I really like to use the enhanced subject mask here and add just a little more pop kind of to the center of the frame. Perfect, and there we go. Our next image here is from a beautiful snowy day over in Austria. This makes me sound like I am all over the place all the time. I'm not. I just happen to live on the border of a lot of really, really nice hikes. Let me see here. I'm gonna go with my, do I want to do golden hour? I think I want to do golden hour. This was a little bit before golden hour. Backlit, but it's more of a side lit, kind of front lit image. This is from a stunning, stunning fresh snow kind of day. Bring that down a little bit. I'm gonna maybe warm this up, just not that much. Let's see here. I think right in there. Subtle, I like it. That feels good. And I think, curious for my contrast. Oh no. I think I like my contrast where it's at, but I am going to add grain medium. I personally very rarely use the strong grain feature, but I know a lot of people really like heavier grain, and so I have that as an option. I actually might try low. I like to have a more subtle touch typically. And I think that image looks great. This is the before, that's the after. Moving on, this is also over out in eastern Switzerland. Super beautiful sunny morning. I'm gonna go with my harsh light preset. It's a little bit bright, so I'm just gonna bring this down here. I'm gonna crop it in. Let's see. I like that. And then I wanna bring down the sky as well. And I'm just gonna darken that a little bit there. And I also feel like it's just a little bit saturated maybe. I'm curious. Might just reduce the vibrancy on that. And this is the before, and that's the after. Moving on over to the Italian Dolomites. Super moody, beautiful, cloudy, rainy day. I got absolutely dumped on this day, and then it dried out for a bit, which was very welcome. And I'm gonna go right ahead and use my Christine Madeux Cloudy preset. And then I also really quickly want, because this will be easy to edit out, I just want to take out those like packaged up hay bales right there, quick and dirty. And then I'm gonna warm this up a little bit. I think I'm gonna warm it right in there. And then I also think I want to add just a little bit more magenta to the white balance. And then from there, I know that I want to add in a mask. I'm going to darken my skies. And I think I want to soften and darken them actually. I think it has kind of a cool ethereal effect at times. Do that. And then I also want to brighten up where the church is and these houses. So I'm going to go through and use enhanced subject. Perfect. Draws attention there. And then I'm just going to darken the very bottom of this image. And there you have it. I'm also curious, actually, now that I'm looking at it, I might want the shadows up just a tiny bit more. The shadows were at +5. I think I'm going to put them just right here at +15. And there we have it. That is our before, and that's our after. Same trip, different day. We are back in the Dolomites for sunrise. And with this, I'm going to use golden hour. I think I want to use golden hour direct light. Even though it is a backlit image, I like the colors in here just a little bit better. This feels in the shadows just a little bit dark to me. And so I'm going to use my shadow booster gradient. And so I'm just going to go here, shadow booster low, bring that up just a little bit. That is already looking so, so good. And then I also want to bring down the sky just a touch. Perfect. And then Actually, with our sky here, I'm gonna add a second mask. I don't wanna just bring down the sky. I really like the glowiness that we have going on, so I'm gonna have another linear gradient here. And with that, I am going to add soft glow, and that's gonna warm everything up just a touch. And because the soft glow does add some brightness to the sky, I'm actually gonna change this to darken skies low over here. And if I want to mess with my white balance, just a touch to cool it off. And there we have the before and the after, and what I guess I really think this image would do well with some grain, and I'm gonna add grain medium in here. Perfect. Okay, next image. Also back out in Switzerland from an incredible sunrise hike that my husband and I did last summer. It was some of the most real conditions ever. I'm gonna go right through with here. This is kind of a direct light one. I'm gonna go through with golden hour direct light. I really like the golden hour direct light preset because I find that it adds just a little bit of an extra pop to the oranges, which I like because of this kind of orangey rock that we have going, and also that alpenglow that's going on. This one, as is, already looks great. I feel like there's very, very little that I would want to change. I do want to see about maybe softening up the skies just a tiny bit at the top. And so I'm going to just add that there. A little bit of a hazy effect. And then I also am going to add green again. And I think I want to add medium green in there. That looks great. So this is the before and the after. Super simple. Another sunrise over in Switzerland. This is over at the Hütte, which is at the base of the Matterhorn. So the location is absolutely amazing. Anyways, here I'm going to use golden hour backlit. And then I am going to, I think I want to bring up the exposure just a little bit. And then I want to add another bit of a soft glow to bring out the sky that we have over here in the corner. I'm just gonna do that, add a little bit extra warmth there. I also want to darken the foreground of the image, so I'm gonna darken this up just a hint, and that looks good. This is our before and this is our after. Okay. We have another one over in Switzerland at the Matterhorn. This one, because it's pretty direct, harsh sunlight, I'm gonna use my harsh light, desaturated, and warm preset. And then with that, I think I just wanna warm it up. Just a touch here. And I also, to see here about, don't wanna do that. I'm gonna darken the bottom again just a little bit. And perfect. This is our before and this is our after. Once again in Switzerland, Switzerland has my heart. This image here, I am going to use, I think I want to use the harsh light again, desaturated and warm. This is up near the Breithorn, which is one of Switzerland's 4,000 meter peaks. And I'm just gonna bring this down a little bit. And super simple. That looks already great. If I wanna add some green, kind of like, let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna just go with gray medium again. You can tell I have like my go-tos here. And so that is the before and the after. This is also in Switzerland, over in St. Moritz. From a sunset, overnight kind of hike I did. Just crop that in. And here, I want to go with golden hour direct light again because I want to bring out the oranges that we have going on here. I also feel like this is just a little bit more saturated than it. I'm going to take the vibrancy reduction and use that. And then I also think I want to add just a little bit more contrast here. I like that. I'm going to bring down the sky so we can see more detail in the sky. And yeah, we'll do that. And then I'm gonna opposite darken. You can see a trend here. I find that using masks is the way to go to help make your images just pop a little bit more. And I'm curious if I double that up by duplicating it. I think I like that. And then over here, I'm just gonna use another radial filter to enhance this kind of middle triangular peak that we have going. Bring that out to the edges. And there we have it. Super beautiful before and after. Now we are back over in Germany. First things first, I'm gonna crop this, or straighten this image. Still is crooked. I know that there's a little drag tool that you can use to straighten images, but I never feel like it's quite right to my eyes, so I prefer to do it myself. Awesome. And then from here, I think I want to do golden hour direct light. And then from there, I'm going to bring up the exposure just a little bit. I also feel like this image is very cool for my taste, so I'm going to warm it up. You get really nice kind of rich greens here, and then to me, and so I want to use my shadow booster to help with that. And there we go. I feel like the image now is just a little bit bright actually, so I'm going to bring this back down, and then I also want to add a little bit more purple or magenta to my tint. I feel like that is looking really good. I could darken the sky as well, but as you see, before, after, so good. I'm trying to think here. I'm going to take just a few more images right here, back in the Dolomites, super bright, harsh, direct light. Edit this. There's a few things I would edit out, but just for the sake of this, I'm going to show the presets. I'm going to do harsh light. I think I want to do just the plain harsh light, not desaturated and warm. Bring this down just a little bit. I also want to bring back a little bit more detail into the sky. And so I'm going to darken my skies. Perfect. And I already really like how this feels. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more magenta there in the white balance. And then I also think some green would look really good with this. And let me see here. If I want. Yeah, I like that. It's the before and the after. Let's see here, I have a few more that I want to show y'all. I'll do this one. This is sunrise over in Italy on the Italian side of Mont Blanc. That is Mont Blanc in the background. So I am going to, let's see here. I'm going to do golden hour direct light. I'm going to bring up the exposure a bit first, just so I feel like my skin tones are slightly more even. Maybe one more. And then I am going to select subject here, and I can show you how I like to use my brighten subject mask. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Slowly but surely. Okay, perfect. And then I'm gonna hit brighten subject. That brightens me up a bit. That feels a lot better. And then with a linear gradient here, I am going to darken the skies again. Make that feel better. And I'm also actually gonna subtract it so that I'm not getting darkened by that mask at all. Perfect. And I am curious here if I might bring down the saturation just a little bit. I think I'm going to keep it because I do like the oranges that are being brought out in the mountains. And let's see here. And I'm gonna cool down, yeah, I'm gonna cool down the shadows just a little bit there. I like that. Do I wanna bring up the shadows? Just a tiny bit. And there we have it. This is our before and this is our after. And then here I'm gonna edit just a couple more for you. This is over in Switzerland as well. I'm going to do our harsh light preset. I think I just want to go with plain harsh light. Bring that, straighten that out. Bring this down just a little bit. I don't know if you can see there's a little teeny tiny fisher out there. And I also think this is just a touch warm. So I'm going to bring down this. I like that. And let's see, the only other thing I want to change is add a little bit of grain to this image. And there we have our before and our after in just a few easy clicks. Okay, last image here that I'm going to edit for this tutorial. Nice blue hour image. I'm going to use Christine Madeux Blue Hour. I'm going to bring up the exposure so it feels a little bit more kind of at a good base here. And then I'm going to use my shadow booster. And let me see here. I'm going to using shadow booster high. And that is too dramatic, so I'm going to use shadow booster low. I'm going to bring down the exposure just a touch. I also want to warm this up. I think this deserves to be warm. And then I'm going to bring down the sky as well so that we get more detail in these mountains in the back. Let's see here. Full disclosure, my clicks don't always fully go through right now when I am screen recording, and so it's just a little bit funky. Okay, perfect. I like that. Maybe warm that up just a touch. And there we have it. I think that looks really, really nice. There's definitely more I could do, but sometimes it's easy to edit an image into oblivion when all you need is a few simple tweaks to make it feel good. I really like where that is. And this is a before and this is the after. So I hope that this tutorial helps you better see what you can do with these presets. They're very, very versatile. They really are about enhancing the natural beauty of the places that you are out and photographing, and I am so excited to see what you create from these. So enjoy!